my name is Clara and welcome to our news bulletin. Coming up in today's BBC School News Report. Animals in a zoo in Denmark put down, Cheryl announces she's to make a return to the X Factor, and some local news stories from Uddingston Grammar, an exciting new project called Space Unlimited, and a little crisis at the school. Finally, we have a special report on Scottish independence. Now over to our first report on the zoo in Denmark.
Hi, my name's Fiona. A zoo in Denmark, after putting down a healthy giraffe, has also killed a family of 4 lions to make way for a new young male lion. There has been outrage amongst the public at these killings. The zoo says it had to kill 2 cubs and their parents after they failed to rehome them. They claim they had no choice. Last month, the zoo killed a healthy giraffe because they felt they couldn't look after it and nobody would rehome it. The manager of the zoo has reportedly received death threats. Animal lovers across the world have expressed their disgust. However, the zoo are sticking to their procedures. Now back to the studio.
Thanks. Now over to Neve for the latest celebrity story.
Breaking celebrity news. Simon Cowell has confirmed that Cheryl Cole is returning to the X Factor UK. This is after she left in 2010 to join the launch of the show in the US. She had a very successful run on the hit TV show for Axe, winning 2 years in a row, Alexandra Burke and Joe McElderry. However, her American dream didn't come true. She only aired 1 edition before Simon Cowell replaced her, and she had a very difficult relationship since then. Simon Cowell has begged her to return to the UK show, and she has finally given in. She has reportedly been offered £1.5 million. Cheryl claims it's not the money that's begging her back. She says she doesn't hold her grudges and is excited to return to the show.
Thanks, Neve. Our next report is about an exciting new project, Space Unlimited at Uddingston Grammar, which hopes to bring positive change to our school. Now over to Clara to tell us more.
Yes, thank you, Olivia. Uddingston Grammar has unleashed a new project called Space Unlimited. This involves letting teachers and pupils engage in open dialogue. Pupils say that it made them understand the teacher's point of views better and that it was a chance to be open with the 4 teachers. In fact, we interviewed them yesterday. Let's go see what they said.
What have you learned from the Space Unlimited experience?
I've learned how to be much more open and honest with pupils. I've learned that consistency is a much bigger issue than I realised it was throughout secondary school. I've a wee bit of communication possibly between myself and other departments and other teachers. I think that might be something that we're going to need to look more into that would benefit us. That's something that I hadn't thought that much about before. So I'd say that was the main thing, a wee bit of consistency being a big issue and how to be more open and honest and talk about issues with pupils.
And do you think that you took too much control at times?
During the Space Unlimited process? I think I tried not to. By the end of it, I don't feel that I was taking any control. At the beginning, I think more from a behaviour management point of view, if there was any chatting and things going on, I was maybe still saying a wee bit like shh. But then letting yourself correct by the end of it, I was getting a wee bit more used to. So, sorry, I'm digressing. Did you say why do I think?
Yeah, why do you think?
I think initially I was trying to take a wee bit of control because that's just what I'm used to, being the person, the sort of management in the room, in a sort of classroom situation. That's my job to maintain that kind of atmosphere. By the end of it, I realised that me doing that in that situation wasn't being beneficial, because that wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, so that's why I stopped.
What did you enjoy most over the 3 days?
I enjoyed, I don't know how to word it, but by the end of it, in hindsight, I look back now, what I enjoy is the fact that I know you guys better, I know a wee bit more about the thoughts and feelings of pupils. I enjoyed the fact that you guys were able to speak openly with me. I liked hearing what you had to say. And I liked being able to have an open discussion and tell you what I was thinking as well. I think the whole openness of the situation, that's what I enjoyed most about it.
Yeah. Do you now feel more comfortable like sitting back and letting people take more charge?
People as in pupils?
Yeah, pupils.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think even since I've been back in class, I'm trying to let pupils self-correct a wee bit more in situations like I was mentioning earlier. If there's a wee bit of chatting going on, I'll say, do you think this is sort of fair, and then leave them to decide. Obviously to a point, but no, I definitely think. Yeah, can't remember what the question was now. Sorry.
Overall, do you now feel that you can have a better conversation with pupils?
Yes, is the short answer to that.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do you think that teachers took over a little too much?
Well, at the start of the week when we were doing it, I think it was hard for them to like not interfere, because like at normal they would just like if you were doing something wrong, they would say, "Oh, whatever," and try to correct you. But then like I think throughout the week they were like didn't interfere as much, and they were more like on the same level of discussing things. And
What do you think you got out of the Space Unlimited?
I think I understand that more. Again, I understand about more the teachers and what they do, like why they do things, and it was just a good experience.
Do you think your Space Unlimited experience was a worthwhile one?
Yeah, I think it was, because
And why?
all the things we learned during it, and all the things like you know now.
Yes. Well, thanks for your answers.
Thanks, Clara. Next up, we have Niamh reporting on the recent litter crisis. Breaking news. Recent discoveries have been made about our school called Uddingston Grammar having a litter crisis. Pupils of the school drop litter in the main hall of the school and in the outside grounds of the school. We're now going to the head teacher and pupils of Uddingston Grammar to find out more.
Do you think that litter is a big problem in our school?
Interesting question. If you to ask me that question 5 years ago, when we first came down to the school, I would have said I was absolutely appalled at the litter, not just simply in the school, but around the school, in the local community, that the young people from this school were responsible for. If you to ask me now, I would say that the issues around the school, outside of the school and in the grounds of the school have pretty much been solved. A long time ago we used to get lots and lots of complaints from local residents about litter up the main street, in Gardenside Street, General's Gate and in the parks round about. And we used to get lots of complaints from the janitors about litter outside the school. And I think because we're quite visible in the local community, the kids see us out and about, I think we've pretty much solved that, but I'm really unhappy about how the inside of the school, we've not managed to crack that egg yet, and I really want to do that one.
Okay. And why do you think the people like drop the litter?
I think there's probably two reasons for that. The first thing I think is that if you look at the shape of our school, we have 1,100 young people, and the area we call Grand Central, which is the street, is actually quite small. And in particular at morning interval, which is a hotspot for litter, at lunchtime slightly different, morning interval is a hotspot, you've probably got about 1,000 people crammed into quite a small space. Now, we do have enough bins for all the stuff that's eaten in the school. We have about 10 bins in the street. But if there's 1,000 people and you can't see the bins, I think naturally people are lazy and will drop it on the ground. And secondly, I don't think that there are possibly enough sanctions against dropping litter.
Okay. In your opinion, why is it important to stop like the people dropping litter?
That's probably about three reasons why I think it's important to stop dropping litter, or to even pick your litter up. The first one is, I think there's a bit issue about what people see as your school. When you walk around our school, if a school has young people who look as though they're working hard, who look as though they care for the school, who look as though they care for each other, I think that that actually helps people's perception of the school, and therefore the school benefits from that. I think the second thing is that if you yourself take care of the school, you take care of your own appearance, you take care of doing your homework, you'll achieve more. I think it all comes part of the same parcel. A young person that looks after himself, thinks about other people, thinks about litter, thinks about graffiti, thinks about how they look, thinks about their homework, actually works together, and they actually achieve more. So they end up getting better results, more likely to go to college, get a job, go to university. And the third thing I think is really important is that it's about learning a lesson for life. If you're untidy in here and are happy to drop things at your backside and at your feet, you'll do that your whole life. And what sort of lesson are you going to teach your own children? So I think there's three things there.
And how do you think we could stop it from getting worse? Because when other P7 pupils come up to our school, they think because everyone else drops litter, they think they can just do it. So if it's kind of like a cycle, if we keep doing that, then how do you think we can stop from the new ones coming up and then
I think the answer is in this room, and it's not me. I think you're the answer. I think young people have to take responsibility for themselves. And what I'd like to see, because I'm there every lunchtime and every interval anyway, and you've all seen me, and I walk around at lunchtime and I collect up litter because I don't think I'm too big to do that. And the reality is, if I've got 800 people sitting down eating, I actually don't have enough bins when you've actually now got food on plates. So I walk round and I help, and the janitors walk round and we tidy the tables up. And that's because I want to show and be a role model. But at morning interval, for example, which is a major issue in the school, I think young people should take responsibility. And what I'd like to see is young people, perhaps in first year and second year and third year and so on, in teams working together and saying, do you know, today it is going to be Arran House. And in Arran House, the 10 of us are going to be responsible for patrolling the street area, making sure that people, if they drop litter, are asked to pick it up and put it away, or even to help just pick it up themselves. I'd like to see young people taking a bit of responsibility. I think that'd be a nice thing.
Well, when y'all go round and do, it's good that y'all come round and do pick up the litter, but because then it doesn't get really messy. But if they do they not drop the litter maybe because they know people are going to come and clean up after them, so it's not going to stay a big mess.
But that's part of the issue you will always have, because unless you see someone dropping it, how do you know who to ask to pick it up? Because I've asked people in the past, could you pick that up? And they say, it's not me, it's dropped it. I said, it's not what I asked. I've asked you if you could pick it up, please.
Yeah.
And if you ask nicely, people will do it, but not everyone asks nicely. And some people, what if they refuse? And they say, I'm not doing it, it's not mine. I've had parents saying, you asked my son to pick up litter, and it wasn't him who dropped it. And at times I've said, actually, it was him who dropped it, because that's all. So not everyone is as straightforward and honest as they should be. And I think that's important to get across as well, because litter is one part of a bigger issue. And the bigger issue there is about young people believing that they belong to a school and that the school is important to them. And so the question I would pose is, what does it take to get young people to respect the school? And if you respect the school, why would you do that? So what does it take? So litter might actually not be the problem, it might be something else, and litter is a symptom of a problem. I've worked in schools before with lots of graffiti, and graffiti is an interesting thing because often the graffiti names people, and it might have named me, for example, as a head teacher. And if I kept coming in and moaned at people all the time and was not someone who people could trust and didn't believe in what I said, or made promises I didn't keep, and graffiti started appearing that said that, you know, sometimes there's a wee bit of truth in that. And so as the head teacher, I'd need to look at it and go, actually, do you know, although I'm fed up with the graffiti, maybe what they're writing is true. And it's a bit about litter. Is litter the problem, or is there something else? And what I'd like the Rights Respecting School group to have a look at is all of that, and tell me where I need to improve this school, because I can't do it by myself.
We're sorry to interrupt this programme, but we have a news flash.
A very important issue for Scotland at the moment is the referendum taking place later this year to vote for independence. It has caused a lot of different opinions in Scotland and created many debates about whether Scotland would benefit from going it alone.
There are two campaigns running at the moment, one in support of independence called Yes Scotland and one against it called Better Together. Yes Scotland is run by the Scottish Government to promote Scottish independence.
A recent survey run by the Scotsman newspaper claimed that only 15% of people surveyed said that an independent Scotland would be beneficial to their businesses, while 45% said that separation would be harmful. A total of 36% of firms would consider moving their premises from Scotland following a yes vote. Therefore, there may be financial and corporate repercussions following a yes vote. There is also a growing concern that some aspects have not been answered. For example, issues with passports, boundaries with England and currency should no longer be a part of the UK.
However, those in support of the campaign have highlighted some of the major benefits to Scotland if they were to be independent. Scotland would have access to their own resources and all decisions would be taken in Scotland by Scotland. Therefore, policies and legislation would be tailored to meet our needs. An independent Scotland can also invest our oil wealth for future generations and base our economic policy on Scotland's growing industries in food and drink and tourism. We asked our teacher, Mr Patterson, for some more information on Scottish independence. What do you think are some of the reasons why Yes Scotland campaign is keen for an independent Scotland?
I would think that Yes Scotland are keen for an independent Scotland because Scotland could probably do better on its own in terms of more decisions could be made. If you look at the UK economy, sometimes decisions taken by the UK government affect especially the south-eastern part of England. So economic policies and government policies and taxation policies affect particularly those parts of England and don't affect Scotland.
Yeah.
So Scotland would be able to determine its own future. So I think that's why it would be better for Scotland.
Okay, thank you. Why do you think Better Together are so eager for us to stay part of the UK?
I think as far as they're concerned, it's simply fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
People get frightened about things that they're not certain about. But I think the Scottish Parliament has shown that we can make decisions in Scotland that are good for Scotland and affect Scotland, and I think that's what should happen. I think if Scotland voted yes, then that would be good for the rest of the United Kingdom, because it would possibly lead to more devolution of government to, for example, the North East, to Wales, to the Midlands and so on, so they could get the policies that suit them better.
Thanks. Do you think young people should be allowed to vote in the forthcoming referendum?
Absolutely. Young people are the future of the country, and if you're over 16, the law states that you're allowed by law to do certain things.
Yeah.
So therefore I think it's right that in such an important decision about Scotland's future or the country's future, that young people have a say and their voice is listened to.
Yeah, thank you. What benefits do you think an independent Scotland may bring?
I think the benefits would be to bring decision making closer to the people. We are a small nation, but all the research shows that we could be a very prosperous nation if we took decisions in Scotland which affected Scotland's behaviour, Scotland's policies and behaviour. So I think that would be one thing. Also, internationally, we've got a good standing. We export a lot to the rest of the world, and I think that that would possibly lead to a greater stimulus to improve the export of the products and the services that we provide for the rest of the world. So I think it would be in Scotland's interest to make decisions at home which would allow it to have a prosperous future.
Okay. What concerns do you have over an independent Scotland?
I think my concern over an independent Scotland is we've been asked to decide about a principle. Do we think it's right that Scotland should have the right to determine its own future? And most people would agree, I think, most thinking people would agree that Scotland should have that right. And, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
What concerns do you have if we were to become independent?
My concern is mainly, I'm not concerned about Scotland not being a member of the EU. The No campaigns have really pursued a sort of scare tactics campaign, and that what we need is more honesty in terms of how Scotland's future would be. But again, you're asking people to speculate. We don't know for certain. Until the decision's taken, we don't know.
Yeah.
You can't give cast iron guarantees. So there is a certain amount of the unknown, and people tend to be frightened of the unknown. I think that's why people are worried about it. As far as the pound's concerned, for example, the Scottish National Party and the Better Together campaign have got different views on, for example, which currency Scotland would use. I would prefer, if Scotland became an independent country, that Scotland had its own currency. That might create some disruption for a short time, but I'm sure that given Scotland's strong trading position, that it would work out for the better in the long run.
I think that it's very unfair that people my age don't get to vote, because I believe that since it will be our future, we should get a say in who makes the decisions in our country. Young people my age do care about our country, and we sometimes think that adults assume that we don't. This is a big decision for adults to be making, even though this will be our future.
In my opinion, Scotland shouldn't become independent because I think we would be poorer as a country because we are an ageing population, so there would be less people to support the pension of people in Scotland. There are also lots of unanswered questions, such as what currency will we use, what will happen to people's pensions, and will we need a passport to get into England, or will I have to own a Scottish passport, or can I have a British one? I also think we are just better off with England, because Ireland has lots of problems now that it wouldn't have had if it had stayed part of Britain.
Thanks for watching our BBC Schools News Report. That's all from us. Bye!